So some of you probably heard the story I told a year or so ago here about almost burning down my childhood home. And if you did hear that story, you knew that my dad is the one that saved us from that. And so it's kind of ironic that it was my dad, when I was a child, that would have a candle on the table at dinner. We always had dinner together, the whole family. And he would teach us to run our finger through the flame. Now, if you went too slow, it hurt a lot. And if you went too fast, you didn't get that little badge of courage. If you went just right, you got a nice black ring around your finger from the soot. And I was really a scaredy cat, and I didn't want to do it, but I finally was able to do it. And I felt like in that moment I had maybe grown up a little in my dad's eyes. Well, fast forward, 2009, my mom passed away after a very long illness, and that prompted my dad to think about his own power of attorney and all of those things that you have to think about when your life partner is no longer the person you can rely on for that. And so we had a long discussion about it. I am the baby of the family. There are 3 of us, so of course it was me that got chosen for that. And I took the job very seriously. There wasn't much to do. My dad was still in really good shape. But he did go through this period after my mom died where he just wanted to get rid of everything that had ever been hers. And I was trained as an archivist, and there are 5 generations worth of stuff that have come down through the family. And I wanted to make sure that that stuff didn't end up on the curb, because that was the kind of state my dad was in. So I started going up. I had already been going up to see my mom, but I was going up to Fort Collins about once a week. And I did that for the next 9 years, and up until now. And in that time, I also became the power of attorney for my aunt, my dad's sister, and helped her clean out her house and move to assisted living as dementia became more than she could manage. So this fall, September, I have been pushing my dad, all the kids have been pushing my dad to move to assisted living for a while. His balance wasn't great. He had this episode where his feet swelled up, and my sister and brother-in-law took him to the hospital. And then he fell and broke his hip. And I wasn't there. I was at Story Camp in New Mexico and got this message on my phone. So I wasn't there to make any decisions, and he was given general anesthesia. He will be 89 in a couple of weeks. And as you may know, general anesthesia with elderly people is often a recipe for disaster, and it was. And it remains a disaster. And he is now in long-term care, as you know, nursing care. And I still go up once, twice, 3 times a week, because I'm the one that has to sign all the papers and make all the decisions and take over all of the financial stuff and make sure that I've paid all the bills. And it's been this really intense emotional load. So on Friday, 2 days ago, I was up there, and he is generally really friendly and nice. And then it's like the switch flips, and he becomes completely paranoid. And I was on the phone about the long-term care insurance and when is that first payment going to come through so we can make sure financially we're in good shape. And he was asleep. But in the middle of this phone call, he's sitting in his wheelchair, and all of a sudden he's flailing like this. And I'm like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he's awake. And I finish the call, and he lays into me about how I'm stealing his money, because he's totally misunderstood what I was doing on this phone call. And the words that come out of his mouth are words I have never heard him say. And the names he called me were horrible names. And he accused me of all these terrible things. And I said, Dad, if you want to get somebody else to do this job, I'm happy to resign. Well, of course, that wasn't really the most compassionate thing to say to a person who's distressed. But I walked out of there once the one-on-one care people arrived. I walked out of there wishing so much that I could be fired from this job and that somebody would take it over. But there's nobody that's going to take it over. And now it's 2 days later, and in 2 days I'll go up and see him again, and I'll just hope that he's in a better space. Thanks.